At the turn of the 20th century, millions of Jews were surging toward the Golden Medina, America. A large percentage of those Jews, when faced with the challenge of starting anew, left their Frumkeit on the boat as they joined the new, enlightened society. The forces of secular Judaism were strong and aggressive in America, and many chose to forego the teachings of their Rebbeim and traditions of their families to survive, or so they thought. It would take tireless hasmada, uncompromising dedication to Torah, and a great love of Am Yisrael to start to turn back the tide of assimilation in America. It was into this environment that a 9-year-old Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg arrived from Poland. Born into a family who knew who they were, who knew that breaking Jewish tradition would never lead to their survival, the Scheinbergs clung tightly to Torah and mitzvahs. The greatness of the young Chaim Pinchas was apparent to Gedolei Yisrael. He came under the influence of Rav Yaakov Yosef Herman Zatzal, a fervent advocate of maintaining and strengthening Torah values in America.
He's got a load of my grandfather, Rabbi Herman, who was involved with boys to try to help them, in their ruchnius, to grow in Torah. It was introduced to my father, and he took him under his wings, and he had a very marked influence on him. That when he sent him away to New Haven, he said he walked in the house. My mother was all of 12 years old or so. I said, I have a shidduch for Bessie. I sent him off to New Haven. My father, when he entered the yeshiva, he was 14. He learned there 2.5 years, and when he left, he made a siyum on Shas.
Rav Scheinberg married his beloved wife Bessie, and shortly afterward, Rav Herman encouraged his son-in-law to return to Poland and steep himself in Torah learning in the Mir during the 1930s, where he and his young family traveled across Poland to get a bracha from the Chofetz Chaim.
The Rosh Yeshiva of Mir, HaGoyen HaGodol, Reb Lezer Yudel Finkel, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, used to say that Reb Chaim Masmid, that was his name in Yeshiva Smir. Chaim Masmid, that was his Torah, Chaim Masmid. He was the biggest masmid that went in Yeshiva Smir. Forever, how many Talmidei Chacham came out from Mir Yeshiva?
While others were busy building their private lives, homes, and businesses, Rav Scheinberg was busy building the future of Torah, first in America and then in Eretz Yisrael. He was the Mashgiach Ruchani of Yeshiva's Chofetz Chaim in Queens for 25 years, Rav of a shul on the Lower East Side, and then, with the help of his son-in-law, Rav Chaim Dov Altuski Zecher Tzadik Livrocha, founded Yeshiva's Torah Ore in 1960.
My grandfather was encouraging the family to move to Eretz Yisrael for many years, until when he came to Eretz Yisrael to visit his father's kever in 1963, I believe, he decided at that point that he thinks it would be kedai to bring the yeshiva to Eretz Yisrael.
The yeshiva was the first, he was the pioneer in having an American yeshiva in Israel. Yes, this was the first, and now Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of them. But at that time, it was a new concept that he came over here.
Coming to Israel was by him first of all, the mitzvah of Yeshiva Eretz Yisrael, which in itself was a tremendous inyan. But he felt also that he could build an American yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael and give American bochurim a chance to grow in Torah here.
la la la
and the yeshiva came over here to Eretz Yisrael. And we were in Diskin at the time. I remember the first Rosh Hashanah, the main course on Rosh Hashanah was kurkavanim metugonim mitzagvaniyot. That is pupiklach in tomato sauce, paste sauce. Whew, that was an experience. That was an experience.
During the Six-Day War, the Rosh Yeshiva stayed with the boys, only leaving the Beis Medrash when he had to because of the bombing, and even slept in the bomb shelter along with them.
The Yeshiva was a very calm person because he had bitochen. So during the Six-Day War, when we were in Diskin and the war broke out, he was in Diskin. He stayed there overnight. Also, everybody was clustered around him when Bocher slept underneath his bed, even because he felt that that's the safest place to be.
My father, the Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal, taught by example. That was one of his greatest qualities.
I remember the first time I met Rav Scheinberg, I actually learned by Rav Nissen Alpert Zatzal. He was my Rebbe in America. And when it came time, I wanted to come to Eretz Yisrael, so he said, maybe you should go to the yeshiva of my father-in-law. That was his recommendation. He used to come every year Pesach for fundraising, and I could make an appointment. So I remember going to getting the address, and I took the train from Long Island, the Long Island Railroad into Brooklyn, and I went into the little room where he was. I saw a man sitting in a chair, an armchair, and then I saw a mountain of tzitzis and talesim. And I just gasped, I could not believe it. And I said, what is going on? And then I said, I'm Yaakov Gurwitz. I came to get a test, to be accepted into yeshiva. So he asked me a few questions, and I was a little bit nervous, but I passed the test. And he said, okay, you'll accept it into the yeshiva. I said, thank you very much. He said, Rav Scheinberg said, where are you going now? I said, well, I just came from Long Island. I guess I'll take the train back. He said, you came from Long Island? It's hot. You have to get a drink. He jumped out of the chair with the whole mountain of tzitzis, and he ran to the refrigerator, and he poured me a cup of orange juice. That cup of orange juice went into my bones that I never forgot. The chesed that I saw, how to care. What do you care about a young boy coming in? You're the Rosh Yeshiva.
In the middle of the 70s, I spoke to the Rosh Yeshiva about how does he prepare the shir kloli, and maybe this way, maybe that way. So he told me, about Mordechai, you don't know what's going here. His minhag was, the Beis Medrash is in the lobby. When we're going into the Beis Medrash, there's one floor down, the dining room. 9 o'clock in the morning, the Rosh Yeshiva used to go down, 18 stairs, going down, and to take the last boys, touch them on the shoulder. Ar Mordechai, she's Naina Zeger, Yankel, Naina Zeger. So he told me, the times that I'm going down 18 stairs, and the times that I'm going up 18 stairs, that's the time which I prepare the shir for you. You are all Talmidei Chachamim. You understand what Magid Shir is. How much do we have to put time to prepare a good shir? And the Rosh Yeshiva says, that's the time. When you see me on the desk, I'm learning further.
He used to give shmuzim on Tuesday nights with Ben Yodom and Chavero. Motzi Shabbos was Ben Yodom and Malcolm, and on Tuesday nights it was Ben Yodom and Chavero. And it was always, he hacked away the same point, more or less, different rights from the Parsha, and a little difference here and there, but it was more or less the same thing. Chesed, and Ben Chavero, and other people, and this is, that was, so I asked him, Rebbe, enough! It's enough, every week. He says, you see from Koheles, you got to hack away. You keep hacking away at it, you bang away at it, and then people get the message eventually. And so therefore this was how he imbued into people the feeling of Ben Chaver.
There was a person who took challenges, who undertook when he felt there was something which was important, he stood up to the challenge.
I was sitting by Yeshiva, we were alone. Came a fellow, a younger man, and asked for his friend that he was sick, that he is sick. The Rosh Yeshiva gives him a bracha, refuah shleima. Says the fellow, Rebbe, it's not enough. I want you to promise him life. He is barely alive. He had leukemia, came second time. He is in the hospital bed, barely alive. I want you to promise him life. Says the Rosh Yeshiva, how can I promise? Says that young man, I'm not leaving you unless you give me a bracha. Avtoche, he said, avtoche, that he should live weiter. And he adds, and he says, Rebbe, he has money. He'll give tzedakah to the yeshiva. Ask the yeshiva, how much money? So the guy says, you know what? He'll give $18,000. Chai alofim. He'll give to the yeshiva. The yeshiva waits maybe half a minute. And the yeshiva says, you know what? I promise you, the fellow is going out of his hospital bed. He will be well. He'll live for long. And now give me his telephone. The yeshiva doesn't know him. And the yeshiva calls him and says, hello. אני מבטיח לך שתהיה בריא ותצא ממיטת חולייך. You'll be well and you'll go out of hospital and have a good Shabbos. The fellow says, good Shabbos, Rebbe, thank you so much. And he goes. And I'm sitting down, shaking. And I'm asking the Rosh Yeshiva, how could you do that? You're not giving a bracha for parnasa. You're not giving a bracha for shidduch. You're giving life to somebody who doesn't have life. How could you do that? Is that the koyach tzedakah? So the Rosh Yeshiva on the spot opens the Gaon Mivilna and Mishlei and the posuk tzedakah tatzil mimoves. So the Gro says that ein lecha dover toivu moil beoilim yosef min tzedakah lechol dover shehu. There's nothing best from tzedakah to everything what you need. But then he says, but with that koyach, I cannot promise. So I'm asking again, how could you promise? If tzedakah is such a tremendous thing, that's the koyach, the power of tzedakah, and with that you cannot promise, so how could you promise? 2 words answer the Rosh Yeshiva. This is my koyach HaTorah. I can do it. This is my koyach HaTorah, and he joined me with his money to have more Torah in the world. So that is my koyach HaTorah, and I can promise him life. That was, I'm telling you, in the beginning of Tishrei. I was by the Rosh Yeshiva about 3-4 months later, in the middle of Chodesh Shvat. I remember it was Thursday night, 7 o'clock. I finished the kollel, I went up to the Rosh Yeshiva, and came a young boy, and knocks on the door and says, those are the last $5,000 from my father that he promised 18. Moira v'Rabosei, I was in the beginning of the story, I was in the end of the story. If I wouldn't be there, I wouldn't tell you because it's hard to believe. But I was there. Baruch Hashem, the man had chasana, got kinder. He married few children in the last few years. Larichos yamim v'shonim. Koyach HaTzedakah is tremendous, but koyach HaTorah, who can say, I have the koyach HaTorah? Every one of us who was part of the Rosh Yeshiva, he has the zchus to have partners, not partnering with the koyach HaTorah.
His motto was always, you got to keep smiling and keep going. You got to keep on learning. That's what keeps the world going.
Those who are Talmidim of the Rosh Yeshiva are still feel the effect and the loss right now. Immediate loss, it's a little difficult. Strong connection. Like a father. He cared.
When you want to measure the quality of a product, so you measure it in two aspects. One is how well does it perform, and the other is how long does it last? As long as the Yeshiva was alive, so we knew how well it could perform. But will it be a hemshech? Will it continue? Whenever Reb Simcha speaks, it's the Tata. And it's not just the Tata, it's not just his father on a intellectual level. You feel the Yeshiva is there. It was like that when Reb Simcha spoke, when the Yeshiva Zechen Levracha was alive. But now it's more, because that's what we have. Every Talmud, of course, carries him with him. There's no question about it. But now we know that there's going to be a hemshech, that there is a hemshech.
The path he set forward was molded by 100 years of living true to Torah, by clinging tightly to what he knew held up the world. Please help us continue the legacy of the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Agoyne Rav Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg, Zecher Tzadik Livrocha.